should be abused by the old man.
He,
That's that, and
he was,
he would beat her.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Harry is absent tonight. So we will have to elect or appoint somebody to run the meeting in his absence.
I'll give it to him.
That's not good.
Appoint,
You know, I get more paid than. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think
You get the micro in front of you anyway.
all in favor?
Aye.
Absolutely.
Now it's your meeting.
We'll call the meeting to order. We're in compliance with the open meeting law.
Yep, we posted it on the website and on the door last Friday.
Okay, then we'll do roll call.
Rolfie,
Yep.
Zinsky,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Here.
Kraus,
Yes.
White,
Here.
Tofar. He's absent.
Okay. Missing one. Any change orders or any, or agenda, or any agenda order changes?
I have none.
There's nobody here for public comments and the new business. Discussion and possible action on bids for the plow truck.
On the bottom of the bid ad that I had created, I added the bids that we got today at 4 o'clock. We got 3 of them. Derek Vaughn, $7,650, Mike Bordendorfer, $5,002, and Bursky Farms LLC at $1,500.
Brusky Farm.
I do not know. Will had received a call from them to come look at it, so he showed it to them last week, but he didn't say how they found it or any of it.
Really, the question is, are we sure we don't want to keep it for a spare in case something breaks down? That's
We used it the last
No.
what I mean.
plow here because
Get
we
the other one
did have a
broke out.
little power steering issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't major.
yeah, they've already got that fixed.
Yeah. But we did have to fire up the old cam and it's the job.
I'm just question,
I mean, I know you stuff you want to keep. I don't want
Got so
I
much
don't want
money to keep it running and you will continue to do so as long as you keep it.
yes,
I say sell it.
Get rid of it.
because if the newer one is functioning properly, probably never gonna fire up the old one, probably.
You can't,
And
you can't.
And the boys say that it's unsafe, which I have pictures of the frame.
Okay.
And it's bad.
Yeah, you guys, you can't just hold, I mean, I had 2 bucket trucks for a while because we didn't want to sell one,
That's okay.
but it just
No,
they
but
sit
I-
there.
Yeah.
I like what you said because sometimes don't owe you anything,
Yeah, but if they sit
But
around,
that's-
they deteriorate pretty fast.
Yeah, well.
Plus, we won't have a place inside to store it, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's not
Well, I guess it goes to Derek then.
Oh, yeah.
Make it so.
Send it down the road.
Will reviewed the bids with me at 4 o'clock and he was happy with that amount. He really didn't think we'd get much.
I didn't think we'd get that.
Happy. I didn't even get rid of it.
I'd make a motion, so to Derek Long.
Second.
Motion made and second to sell the old truck, whatever year it is. 2000, Derek Vaughn. All in favor?
Right.
Yes. So. Containers, next issue.
I do have our regulation in your packet. the short one on the top. Chapter 451. 20 actually restricts the use of shipping containers under our parking regulations ordinance. The part that I highlighted in the middle, C1, which probably isn't highlighted on your copies. It shall be unlawful for any person, firm, or corporation using a van body, truck body, semi-trailer, rail car, shipping crate, and or any vehicle no longer used for its manufactured purpose as a storage shed, storage building, warehouse, or as living quarters in any zoning district except industrial. So we did add the except industrial caveat a couple years ago. There are a couple places where there are industrial zones that have shipping containers on them on your map. I don't think I indicated Land O'Lakes. That would be the blue section, the dark blue section in the middle of town. Land O'Lakes has had shipping containers used for storage for a number of years. I mean like 30 plus years. And then Casey Kraus has a shipping container in the business park, which is currently zone, all of it is zone industrial. The map also shows you a number of locations where there are other shipping containers in commercial zones. The one that, a couple that I've been aware of for a long time now is at Bear Creek Canvas. They have a little shipping container next to their shed. They have a wooden shed in their parking lot, and there's a shipping container next to it that's been there for quite some time. And then the ones that jumped out at me most recently were the ones at M&S and Anderson Electric and at the Vaughn's Roofing business. Those ones are more recent. M&S, I think, staged like 3 or 4 of them behind their shop. From an older picture, I think they actually had one.
They had one.
They had one on the side for probably quite a bit longer. And then Anderson Electric also has one on the side of their building too, on the west side of their building. R&R Flooring has had issues.
Many times.
Yeah.
With trailers being used as storage things, which is not something that, you know, we're really looking to change tonight. And then the one that kind of brought all this to a head most recently is the Spencer School. So if anyone's driven by next to their concession stand, they have a shipping container that they're currently using to store their track mats. I did review the area communities around Spencer that have ordinances that prohibit shipping containers. So here. Of the ones that I looked at, Abbey, Colby, Stratford, Marshfield, Pittsell, Loyal, Greenwood, Edgar. Most of them have regulations that prohibit the use of these containers. Colby, Stratford, Marshfield, and Edgar all have ordinances that deal with shipping containers. The rest of them are silent on the issue. Of the 4 that have those ordinances, 2 of them, Marshfield and Edgar, allow them for temporary use only. Those would be kind of like your pods, the brand.
Well, that makes sense.
The brand name ones.
Yeah, there's these iPods for moving.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they also permit like temporary work trailers for like contractors, those sorts of things under temporary use. Colby is the only one that's similar to us that allows them, but only in industrial areas. And then Stratford is the one that allows them in commercial areas. So, so it's kind of all over the board. I did look at one ordinance that I liked the most, and that was actually Colby. Similar to us, they do regulate them and allow them only in industrial areas. And I think what would be appropriate for us would be to move whatever we decide to do with the regulation, move it out of the parking regulation and put it into our accessory use and structure regulation.
Strange
That would make sense.
spot where it was, yeah.
Yeah. So under Colby's accessory use and structure regulation, they basically say they're not allowed. Well, they define them first. And then they say they're basically not allowed anywhere. Except for a few exceptions, and that's where they list those pods, portable storage containers that are used temporarily. Contracted use for temporary construction offices. And then also in their industrial districts. So I thought this ordinance would be something that we could easily modify for our own use, regardless of any, if we wanted to even make a change or not to our ordinance and permit other shipping containers to be used. This is still a pretty good ordinance to have that treats them more like accessory structures than vehicles.
I'd rather see shipping containers, well, it's like the place we're looking at than a semi-trailer that's been there for 20 years, the tires are shot.
That's in here. We were just talking about this exactly, that's in here.
So the parking regulations ordinance 45120 would stay the same. It would still prohibit the use of van bodies, truck bodies, semi-trailers, rail cars, or any vehicle no longer used for its manufacturing purpose as a storage shed, blah, blah, blah. We would still keep that in our parking regulation ordinance. And then define specifically what we mean by shipping containers in the accessory uses part of the code.
Question for Al, is there anything for as far as fire protection, fire safety, hazard material, you guys go, you know, I mean, are we worried about? No,
The only issue you would have. Well, even that, actually, they're probably very safe.
probably safer than woods.
I assume the shipping containers all have steel floors or wood floors.
All the ones I've seen,
Almost all.
Wood floors.
It's steel,
steel, well, it might be wood, but it's steel.
steel underneath it.
Yeah.
Shipping container.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm thinking somebody like, they would make a good cabinet outside of your building. They would actually be safe for
Gas, oil, flammable material.
it's flammable. That's the word I was thinking,
Be
flammable.
contained.
Well,
It wouldn't keep them from freezing, but it would be a good deal.
I just was kind of curious.
No,
Yeah, you would
as far
definitely
as
want
safety.
to have them vented properly. So like our fire cabinets all have to be vented. So
out of the building.
out of the building. So the
If
shipping.
these- if this was outside, I don't think, I don't know of any fire issues with them.
No, I mean, maybe explosive issue. If you had explosives in there, then maybe you'd get some shrapnel issues if it did explode.
It exploded.
If it was containable, yeah.
It's interesting, in the municipal magazine, one community was creating, what they call a third space, a community type area. They took shipping
They were
containers
using them.
and made all these little, like,
Tiny homes.
not tiny homes, but like little storefronts, that type of thing. And then they would open them up for a weekend of.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shops and shit.
Yeah, they make them as side doors.
Like farmer's market or something.
Yeah, they have something like that in Vegas, container store.
But anyway, this community did that, all the shipping containers.
Oh, yeah.
But then they had to change their ordinances for that purpose. I just,
Yeah, the problem is shipping containers in industrial applications.
Industrial,
No residential.
no, absolutely no residential, but industrial, even
Does Perry even?
the commercial.
Fall into that? No, no.
I don't have a problem with commercial at
So
all.
Perry, I believe, still has,
highway commercial, it's highway commercial.
he's highway commercial, but he still has some trailers that are staged
Thanks.
behind his building. I think the caveat is that they're all functioning trailers.
Yeah, you have to have, at least gotta be functioning.
Working trailer.
So in the past, he had
Yeah.
dropped the wheels off of them and set them on the ground.
okay. What's the purpose of industrial companies getting these shipping? Why are they getting?
Cheaper.
Yeah,
Well, our road proof.
They can store and they don't have to bill.
Yeah, you know, we're rodent proof basically.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
lockable.
Okay, all them things are all great, right? Why is it good for a resident?
Because they're ugly.
So that's a piss poor excuse.
Yeah, it's,
Well,
there's not, it would.
I think even in the industrial areas, I mean, they can keep them nice. If they start getting
Ugly.
pretty rusty,
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there because
keep them a
all
little.
the reasons that it's good for industry, it's also good for our individual.
the aesthetics ain't there though.
People build lean-tos on them too.
Does it take away from the value of the neighborhood?
I'm gonna disagree that they're completely ugly. I think there's uglier things.
And all the reasons we're saying gives them an advantage. Yeah, maybe you don't want to look at it in the neighbor's yard, but it gives that person the same advantage as it would an industry. Because they can't afford to build a garage. They can't afford to do some structure that is taxable. They can't afford to do that.
Would it
Well,
bring down the
what about
value of the
these?
neighborhood?
Does it?
Would it?
What's it do to the industrial area? Can look like crap too.
Well, you can. I mean, they all gotta, if you're gonna have them, you gotta keep them. Like Anderson's, looks great.
Then- And why can't we
Fair Creek's
structure,
paints theirs, so it looks nice and.
why can't we structure the ordinance for residential? But these are the things they would have to do with that container to make it look presentable. And you still could put an annual permit of some type to have that, so that you're getting, okay, you can't get tax off it, but you could get a permit that they have to apply for annually to continue to keep that.
sure. I think as far as residential, we did approach the assessor, Greg, and
Sure.
our building inspector, Bob, when we changed it to industrial. And we asked them at that time, what are your thoughts about allowing this in residential areas? Both of them recommended that we not do it. And they each had a different reason. So Bob, who is our building inspector, said, from a residential point of view, shipping containers aren't addressed in code at all. So as soon as you start modifying the shipping container, and especially when you start talking about adding electricity, then there are no codes that are applicable on the residential side. So you can't build it and meet a code. And although Bob does not inspect accessory structures for us, he's concerned, but especially because he doesn't inspect accessory structures for us, that people would go willy-nilly and build them however they felt,
Sure.
That they wanted to, especially if they couldn't afford to build something else. They might get cheap and do something that might be unsafe from a building perspective. And then, of course, Greg on the assessor side was concerned because these would not be accessible. So if somebody builds a shed, that becomes so.
Okay, so they move in a shed, rebuilt shed. They wire their own electricity into it.
Is that accessible?
Yeah.
Anyway, too.
They
It
can
can
take it away.
If they put it
They
on,
unload them on skids. They can load them right up on skids and move them.
it really depends on how they're installed. But if
It
Greg,
takes this to cut an electric wire.
yeah. No, I know. For example, like mine, I did have Quality come in and wire mine up.
Sure.
And it wasn't just a matter of running an extension cord out to the shed. They had to make sure,
Well, of course,
because each, like, mine was.
it's hardwired into a box, I get it.
Yeah, but even, I mean, to go a step further, like mine was wired to my garage, so then I have my main box that goes in the house.
Yeah.
And the garage has its own sub panel.
Sure.
And now because the garage has its own sub panel, you had to treat that a little bit differently when you run that to the shed. So I mean, that was a code that could be followed. But when it comes to a shipping container like that,
No, to me, it just seems like, okay, we can bring in a wood box, but
Yeah, I
we
get what
can't
you're
bring in a steel box.
right,
I mean,
I get it.
I think you will see in the future that will all change.
Yeah, and it is in the process of changing, especially on the commercial side, because as we mentioned before, the state commercial building code will be allowing shipping containers as not only structures, but as components, like materials. The material that you're using to build your structure can be a shipping container. Like that can be like considered to be like a 2x4.
Yeah.
So you'll see that people putting together buildings out of shipping containers.
I know,
But the important thing is that the commercial building code has rules for shipping containers. They adopted ICI standards
Yeah.
for shipping containers, where on the residential side, on the building code side, they haven't done that at the state level. So our building inspector has nothing to fall back on as far as codes regulating their use in a residential setting.
So we'll just say, until they change the codes, we're not gonna allow it. And then if they change the codes, then we can maybe readdress it.
Throw it in there.
I think that would be a very easy line to draw.
That
I mean,
makes sense.
yeah, I not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, playing the advocate side.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's all coming there. Because things are getting.
Well, until they
tighter,
change the code,
Tighter.
until they change the code, because in to play the devil's advocate, in theory, someone could drop 8 of these damn things in a row, weld them together, and call it a house. We have no taxing authority at all.
Well, no, and
there's
see
no
that, well,
code
that's
set
another thing.
wiring
Can't
it,
do
plumbing it.
that.
or whatever.
Because on the commercial side,
No, I'm talking in the residential.
but just on the commercial side, so it'll be interesting because like the ones that have been placed right now will be grandfathered in.
Right.
But in the future, under the new commercial building code, you would have to get a permit to place a structure like this, and it has to be permanently attached to a foundation. So you can't just set it on gravel,
Because they want to make them more permanent.
because they have to follow the commercial building codes, which require a permanent.
Well, anything commercial, you gotta run through the state anyway.
right,
So they're gonna, yes or no, and yeah, of course, they're gonna make it more difficult for structures like that.
so when we throw something in here. Has to meet all state codes.
That's on commercial, that's also there.
I meant,
Residential.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that,
I mean, when we get a building permit,
When they change it
they already did change it.
for residential,
No, not for.
so I think that's what he's talking about.
that's what I'm talking about, so when. The issue that I don't see. How you could take a shipping container and meet. Dwelling requirements. Because you aren't gonna
But you
get,
see it.
you're not gonna get our values.
I know, but you see it. It may not be in Wisconsin.
Yeah, not here.
California.
I know you are.
What if you spray foam it? Be cold.
It's off.
Mississippi.
You can't, well, if you spray foam the inside, then you have to cover it, cause you can't have.
And now you already lost more square inches.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
yeah, I don't think we can address the residential until the state addresses it, but I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I don't want to see someone buy a
Well,
half acre and drop 6 storage containers and say, oh, look, my house.
well.
Right.
they have to
Although
have-
under the new commercial building code, they could potentially drop that on a commercial lot and call it a storefront.
They could, but they still have to meet the minimal building
And
requirements.
if they meet the commercial building code standards, we would not be able to say who about it.
We still have a minimal build on,
We can't tell them what materials to use in their
no,
building.
but they still have to meet the minimal build for industrial areas.
No, I mean, I'm talking about any commercial zone. You don't have to have a minimum assessed value. I mean, if somebody bought the lot next to Perry, for example, if he sold that to somebody, and instead of putting a little coffee hut there,
Oh,
they decided to put a shipping container there and sell their wares out of a shipping container under the new commercial building
Because
codes.
they met all the
They
commercial
could
codes.
potentially do that,
As long as they met the commercial codes.
as long as they met the commercial codes, absolutely.
Well, I can only imagine the commercial codes aren't gonna be nothing to sneeze at.
No, that's gonna be costly.
Yeah, I don't know. By the time you get done with it, maybe you would be better off just building it with standard materials.
And
Especially in Wisconsin. where-
I can't believe in Wisconsin, we're having this discussion because
I know, it's cold.
it was just minus 13 degrees. I mean, jeez.
You're right. But
What, you put it there for your freezer or what?
I do know a guy
For beer.
that actually took a grain bin, put two grain bins up, tied them together,
Oh, yeah.
and he foamed the inside. But by doing so, he actually had to cover all that foam. And he's telling me it was cheaper than building. And I go, well, if that's what you're telling me, I don't know all the details, but he's not in. He's not
In the village.
in a village or city. He's sitting outside on some farmland that he owned.
I was
But
actually,
I'm just gonna say, it's a nice, it's a beautiful, when he showed me the pictures, it was beautiful inside. It's like a roundhouse. But he stuck a lot of extra, I don't know where he gained.
I was just gonna ask, what if I wanted to get a grain bin? Cut a door in it, fancy it up. Fancy it up.
60.
Well, suppose you
64
wanted,
club.
suppose you wanted to.
I know another one just shortly out of town here. Right there.
I've seen.
Oh, what you call it, has one out
On
here in
Facebook,
Steve.
And Leslie just built one too.
Yeah, they can be pretty sharp.
What's his name across, right there on, Andrews Road. His backyard, what the hell is his name? He's married to a Lipke girl. Anyway.
I think we can't, I just think we leave the residential alone and we just go with commercial and light industrial.
Yeah.
Until we get a.
That's fine.
The state gives us a.
That's fine.
Some
I
rules.
just wanted to.
No,
Until the state gives us some rules or some marching orders.
you don't wanna go home.
Well, at least this office has a direction when somebody comes in.
Right.
That's what I'm concerned.
It's only allowed in
Right.
commercial and light in commercial and right industrial areas.
Well, you need a motion or you gotta just tell Chris to draw it out?
Well, let me, we'll get a motion, because then what will happen is I'll have to redraft the ordinance. And I'd also like to get your impression of Colby's ordinance, if you guys want to take a look at it.
All right.
The thing that I like about Colby's, is that it starts out, it defines what the shipping container is. So it is not a grain bin. It's not a van body. It is an actual shipping container. The exceptions would include, commercial, light commercial. I'm sorry, we don't call it light commercial, we call it,
Industrial,
well, the other commercial is, highway commercial.
highway commercial.
Highway commercial. And then we would add, light industrial to because when we originally did the ordinance change, we considered industrial only. There's not that much light industrial in the village, but, a couple examples of it does include Spencer Machine, so that is considered light industrial. Bear Creek Canvas is light industrial, so then they would be covered. The storage buildings that are around Wisconsin Street, that does Gross still own those? Are considered light industrial. What used to be Mauer's storage sheds, those are light industrial. And then a couple areas out in the business park are currently zoned light industrial.
The school be grandfathered in.
No, well, yes, But I would say that in addition to commercial, highway commercial, and light industrial, we would also just consider adding institutional. So institutional zoning includes the schools, it includes all the village-owned property, and it includes churches. It is colored a bluish, light blue on the map. So it covers all of the village property, like around the complex here, the churches, the post office, the church behind that. And then all of the school, all of the art park area, NTC, and one lot. Oh, yeah, the old well house number 3 lot. Of course, that'll change at some point. I don't know if you guys would at all consider the use of these storage sheds as an alternative, at least on the short term, to a storage option for the public works. But if you wanted to, I did want to point out that the whole entirety of the public works area is actually zoned as the wastewater treatment plant district. So if we,
Industrial
no, it's the wastewater
That's
treatment
got its
plant
own
district.
category.
And the reason it does is because that's set by the DNR, a restrictive setback area from the wastewater treatment plant, where in theory, you're not supposed to have new construction within a certain distance of the wastewater treatment. So that's why that wastewater district was created. And it basically includes everything.
It's the park and the car lot and all the way behind the.
Yeah, if you wanted to put a container in there for,
I was just gonna say that
you know,
rather than me forgetting light industrial
I'd
like
put
I
it in
did
there.
previously, I would include the wastewater treatment plant district
That should
as
be one.
as another optional district that we just get right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would, my Colby's, the only would be, you'd have to add in that, she'll follow, just to future proof it, put in must follow all current and future state rules. State codes.
So I guess
So we don't have to redraft this thing.
we would not be authorizing their use as a building material. When it comes to that commercial building code, and they're gonna actually be using shipping containers as ingredients or as materials to build with, this would not be covered under this. So this is basically just getting a shipping container and using it as is as a storage vessel.
Right, but you said they were talking about having these things attached to the ground and.
Then, yeah, I think we would have to change the ordinance in the future if we were gonna address their, like, especially if it came to the residential side. We're not just gonna add residential to.
No,
this-
we're not gonna add
this ordinance, probably. There'll be other things to consider at that time. One of the other things that I liked about this ordinance, it only can be placed in the rear yard. Has to be on a pad consisting of stone, gravel, or concrete or asphalt. Has to meet the setback requirements. And then, was it this one? Where residential use is immediately adjacent to the proposed location of a container, the minimum setback may be increased in combination with required screening or fencing as determined by the Director of Public Works. We know Director of Public Works, the administrator. If somebody wanted to cite this, good example would be Spencer Machine. Is they put up a really nice garage on the back side of their old facility. After a little while, it did start to get a little bit messy back there. And Janice actually came because she was trying to sell her house and said, can you help me get this cleaned up? Because it doesn't look so nice right next to my residential house. And Spencer Machine's credit, they were immediately responsive. They went out there and they cleaned it up. And looks really good now. But if, say, they wanted to cite a shipping container right next to their shed, which is right next to property, we could say, well, maybe we got to do something different there. Maybe we got to put up a fence or something else to screen.
you're not changing.
And maybe not just a chain link fence. So I did kind of like that it was in here that that would be an issue that we could address at the time that they wanted to put it.
How do these things lock? Is it just, it's not like the back of a semi?
They are exactly like.
That's exactly.
So that, I'm just concerned about safety too, if you got kids running around.
Oh, you ain't.
Can they just
If you
keep
put a
them locked
padlock
all
on
the
them,
Yeah,
time?
put a padlock on them.
if you put a padlock on them, they're more solid than micro.
So does that need to be addressed?
Well, I don't know.
To be
that,
secure?
I don't.
I'm just going.
Bill, are you,
Yep.
are you wondering if they can be locked from the
That's
inside?
that.
They cannot.
But some,
But somebody could lock somebody else.
Somebody else.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's, most of them have
two,
two handles.
two rods.
I don't know if there's any other one.
Well, might as well get the police department. You don't have to take them over to Warsaw.
there you go. I like
Now you're thinking, Bill.
And then the last thing I wanted to draw your attention to as far as Colby's ordinance, got a little bit towards that aesthetic thing. Removal of a shipping container or similar conveyance container may be ordered by the city due to lack of maintenance, or if it becomes a public nuisance. So yeah, if it does start to deteriorate, if it looks bad, if there's structural issues or the doors are falling off and it is a hazard, like you say, then for our ordinance, we would be able to go to them and say, hey, you either gotta fix this or get rid of it. I don't think there was anything that I saw in this ordinance that isn't here that I wanted to add. Maybe you guys have some thoughts. Certainly, if you have any thoughts, share them with me, because I probably won't have this ready for the January meeting. So it'll probably be at the February.
No, but we've already addressed the issue for, I think next spring you're gonna see some requests.
Well, obviously, they're all over the place.
Well, it's telling them down there at the curve, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, you don't have one or two, he's got what, 20?
23 of them.
Oh, yeah.
We went to Eau Claire.
There's a place in Curtis, so.
We went to Eau Claire for a wrestling tournament Saturday, and you know, on 29, you can't go 15 miles before there's another. It's funny because the way they advertise is they always have two of them and then they put one on top, you know, to make it very noticeable what they are. And you can go 15 miles before you saw another set of
Well, they
shipping
come from
containers.
China, they don't go back.
Or what
Right.
container.
Yeah.
It costs more to haul them back.
Yep, that's the issue. I was reading an article about how many there are available. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of them available.
Yeah, so yeah, if we could make a motion to direct me to do that, I guess.
I'll move the motion.
Okay.
Department gets-
You know, a motion to direct Chris to write a container ordinance.
And relocate their existing ordinance from our parking.
So then we would modify.
Modify
and
parking.
Modify.
All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
No opposed. It passes. And there is no other business. So then, all
Merry Christmas.
right, we're done.
Motion.
I got your motion.
Second.
I'll take this.
Hit your button.
No, you're right, cause the board, we see them more around, they gotta get rid of them, the price will come down on them. I don't know what they cost.
So I,
That's true too.
I,
You know what they cost?
No, I don't.